Hello juniors, welcome to your Thursday instruction. Hopefully this video is going to help you complete today's assignment and I will go ahead and walk you through it. Make sure you guys pause the video and stuff when you need to so that you have time to copy the code that I'm showing you. So let's go ahead and start. In order for you guys to use something we call libraries, you have to import them. We've tried this before where we try to add colors and effects to our text outputs. That library is called style. You could go ahead and read up on it if you want, the comment that I left you. But it's basically a combination or a collection of specific functions. For example, style library contains all these different things that we can do for text outputs. So we can change the foreground, background, add effects, and then stop those effects and colors. These are called modules. They're parts of a specific library. So in reality, you could just import the foreground module and then just use that. You could just import the background. You could just import the modules that you're going to use. Or you could import a lot of them that are in there, because we know that we're going to need all of them so that we can add different kind of effects and colors to our output. Let's see. First thing you're going to need is you're going to need a file that mentions all the different libraries that we need to import. So you're going to go ahead and click on New, File, and then you have to make sure you spell it right, because the program is going to look for this file to go download when it needs to go download. So make sure you spell it exactly correct. And then you add the file, and mine says it's existing already because I already made it, but it'll go ahead and let you make it and you'll see your file. Once you create it, you have to go inside and then you have to go ahead and write this thing in. So you're telling the program, go download this library, and then you're telling it the version number, because they're gonna improve it, add more stuff. It's gonna change the version number, like 2.06 on, on and on and on. So you gotta know the latest version number. How do you know? All these different libraries that let you different things, they all have websites. Some of them, they have a search engine where you could search for all these different libraries that you could use depending on what you want to do with your program. I'll go ahead and show you guys that another time, but for this specific one, this is the manual for it. So you could try copying it, going there, and then you'll see what you can do. So these are all these different words and numbers that we could use to represent a color. And then sometimes they'll go ahead and show you different ways to use it. If you want to add custom colors, this is the way you do it. This represents red, blue, and green. We'll play around with that another day. But yeah, this is what you could expect based off of the code that you see over here. But the version number, right here. So these are all the different versions that you could download. But we're gonna go with the latest one. And then it'll also show you right there. So once we do, you can go ahead and actually use it. So this is the number from that chart that we saw. 40, let's see. 40 is green. Let's see if it gave us green. Yes, it did. So what I'm doing is I'm putting the number into a variable. I'm also putting the data into a variable. That way I could print it out. And all you have to do is add this little piece of code. And then this is a number, so it's going to get replaced with 40. And then this is how you stop that effect so that it doesn't bleed over to like other prints. We just want that thing to be green. And that's it. This is the same thing but for background, so BG. So stop the background, not the foreground, right? Because if I'm using the background, I gotta stop the background. This is for italic. And then stopping italic, for whatever reason, they flip it so that it's RS first and then EF to stop that effect just for that name. This is for bold. So you can see the preview of it right here. So yesterday we learned about functions and parameters. So we're gonna use these libraries that do colors in our function. So you can see that we're defining greeter function and we're supposed to provide it name. Well, you could do it like this. This FG is just for the welcome message. So it's not in a variable, we're just applying the color directly to a string. And you can do that. And then what we're doing is we're adding that foreground color 44, which is a little bit different. 44 should be like a little bit more bluish. So we're applying that color to the name, which is, the last one was like, oh, we're gonna actually get it right here when we run the function. So once they provide the name when we run this code, the function runs, and then the name gets plugged in, and then we're gonna apply that color to the name that they're gonna give us and the exclamation point so that that part could come out in a different color. And then you could just connect everything using plus symbol. So this is gonna be for one color for welcome, comma, and then this is gonna be a different color for the name and the exclamation point. But since this is in a definition for a function, it's gonna get all that ready, the colors and all that. It won't apply it and show it to us until we call the function. And once again, it's gonna get the name when somebody types it in. And then it's gonna go here and then do what it's supposed to do. Apply the colors and then show it to us with welcome. Okay, so what is your name is coming from here. Once I type it in, that's gonna become the value for name. It gets plugged into the function, and then the program will go look up the definition of it so that it could do what the definition is, which is applying colors and then printing it out for us. There you go. So welcome, that's in color 40. And then Kim, which is the value for the variable name, and then the exclamation point comes from that color 44 when we call the function. Okay, you could pause the video, and then if you haven't already done so, copy all these lines of code with the comments so you have it as notes. And then on the next video, I'll show you guys how you might be able to apply this for the forest game. Good job.